Welcome to Psychology Hub with Dr. Rodriguez. In today's video, we'll be going over dissociation concepts. There's 6 that I'm going to go over in this video and hopefully give you a one-liner hook that helps you memorize this, okay? So that when you see it in a question, you see it in a test, or it presents to you, you can pick certain key terms and you can kind of determine it's dissociative amnesia, it's dissociative fugue, stuff like that, okay? I want to start with this one-liner hook, okay? I want to start with, am I missing memories, my identity, myself, or my world, okay? Now let's dissect that. Am I missing memories, right? Memories, dissociative amnesia. And remember, dissociative amnesia, the clinical application is the inability to recall important autobiographical information, often related to stressful traumatic events. It's a memory gap, okay? Dissociative amnesia. Amnesia is the hint. When you get a question that presents with memory gap, think of dissociative amnesia. The second part to that memory hook is my identity. Keyword identity, DID. And the clinical application of dissociative identity disorder, DID, would be a disruption of identity involving 2 or more distinct personality states with association or associated discontinuities in sense of self and behavior. And when you get a question or something presenting to you with identity and continuity, I want you to think of DID, okay? Back to that one-line memory hook. Am I missing memories, my identity? Let's talk about myself, okay? Myself would be self. Depersonalization. Depersonalization is the person, is the self, which is understood or clinically understood as feeling detached from or like an outside observer of oneself. So if a question or vignette is presented to you with a cue or some type of question that states, I don't feel like myself, get it? I don't feel real like myself. That's personal, the person, okay? And let's go back to that memory hook. Am I missing memories, my identity, myself, or my world? Remember the last part of that, my world, would be the environment. Derealization, right? It's clinically defined as feeling that the external world is unreal, dreamlike, or distorted. And if you get a question that states something like the world doesn't seem real to me, then I want you to think of derealization, okay? About a couple more. So that was that one-liner hook to determine if am I missing memories. That can include my identity, myself, from my world, to at least get rid of those 4 concepts, okay? Outside of those 4 concepts, or that one-liner, would be dissociative fugue, which is dissociative amnesia accompanied by purposeful movement. So if you get a question or vignette of some sort that says this, at the end of the question states this person does not understand travel, he or she don't know how he or she got from A to B or from A to B to C to D, then I want you to think of dissociative fugue, which is dissociative amnesia accompanied by purposeful travel or wandering, okay? And confusion about identity or autobiographical information. Very important. Keywords: travel plus amnesia, dissociative fugue, okay? Let's add one more to the dissociative domain. Okay, so I want to talk about trauma-related dissociation, right? It's clinically understood as dissociation function as a psychological response that that creates distance from overwhelming experiences, okay? Trauma-related dissociation. So if a traumatic event happens, it is a physiological response to create distance, right? Okay, very important. So if you see a question or something presented to you, or a patient comes to you and there's keywords like overwhelming experiences, disconnect, that's trauma-related dissociation, okay? Before we close, I really want to focus on each of these disorders You can pick an intervention or a treatment modality depending on the whole clinical presentation of your client, but at least I really want to just focus on the dissociation concepts and at least the 6 that we talked about. But before we close, I want to end with the one-liner memory hook statement. Okay, I want you to think of, okay, there's 6 that we talked about in this video, but at least 4 we can, if we remember this statement, this one-liner. Am I missing memories, my identity, myself, or my world? Then we already know that it's dissociative amnesia, memory, right? Myself, my identity, DID, myself, depersonalization, and my world, environment, derealization. At least we can get rid of those 4. And we have 2 left. What are the 2 that we have left? Dissociative fugue and the trauma one. What's the trauma one? We went over it in this video. Trauma-related dissociation, which is overwhelming experience, and you almost protect yourself by creating distance. But thank you. In close, thank you. I appreciate it and good luck.